welcome to You Make the Difference. I'm Wanda Walker, and today we're talking to Tashari McFarland, who is with Teen Maze. We're going to tell you all about it so the parents will know what's happening, and also the young people will have something to look forward to.
Right.
Welcome to the show, Tashari.
Thank you for inviting me again.
Yes. Now tell us, what is Teen Maze exactly?
Well, Teen Maze is an annual event that Troup County Health Department sponsors. And we have all of our Troup County ninth graders come out and try to show them that there are real consequences to engaging in risk behaviors like drinking and having sex before you're ready. Because our goal is to get all of our teens here to graduate without having to go through all of that stuff.
Yes, and at Teen Maze, they can see what some of the consequences
Right.
are and kind of experience the ooh,
Yeah.
but it not be permanent.
Right, because you know, in real life we make decisions and they're permanent, and we just want to stress that what you do now can affect the rest of your life. And so, like you said, we get there at Teen Maze, and some of those things that they experience, they're not permanent, but it gets the kids thinking, and that's, you know, a big part of Teen Maze is to get you to think before you do some of these things.
Yes, and this is the 6th year
It is.
that we've had Teen Maze,
Right.
and it's your 2nd year being the coordinator for Teen
Yes,
Maze.
yes.
Tell me how it's going this year.
It's going well. It's going well. Second year, you know, I've kind of worked out some of the kinks, and so it's going a little smoother. But we still, you know, are having the basics parts of Teen Maze, and we still need volunteers. So still working on that and just getting the volunteers in for this year.
Yeah, and we can't stress the need for volunteers too much, can we?
Yeah, we cannot, because I mean, it would not be possible without the hundreds of volunteers that come out each year. So I mean, we couldn't do it without it, because we have so many students coming through. We need just physical people there to actually give them the information that we would like to give them at Teen Maze.
Yes, and you have 60 now, and you'd like to have at least
Double that each day, because we need around 120 volunteers each day. And we've always had great participation from our community. And we're just looking forward to that great participation again this year, because I know that a lot of times people see deadlines and they kind of wait around. So we're just hoping that these people see us here today.
Yes.
And just realize that we need volunteers.
That's right. Go ahead and sign up today.
Right.
Yes. Now tell me, when will Teen Maze be, and where are you holding it this year?
Okay. Teen Maze is October 26th and 27th, and it will again be at the Callaway Conference Center out there at West Georgia Technical College.
Okay. And what schools are participating in Teen Maze?
This year we have LaGrange High School, Troup High School, and Callaway High School participating, as well as the students from Burwell.
Okay. And it's 9th grade students.
Ninth grade students,
New
yes.
9th grade students.
Yes, first time ninth grade students, yes.
Okay, let's talk about when they first get to the maze. What happens when the bus first arrives and drops them off at the door?
Well, when they first arrive and drop off at the door, they enter our party scene. And in that scene, that's where the students come in. It's fun. We have music playing and everything. And we try to liven the students up. But that's our part where we actually discuss things like drugs, alcohol. And this year we're adding a new little part. We have a speaker actually coming in to the party scene to discuss a few things with our students. But I don't want to give away too much on here.
Wow,
but
yeah.
we do have someone coming in to speak with the students about the consequences of drugs and alcohol. So
Good. And is there a dating violence scene in the maze
we do
this year?
we do have a component from dating violence. Our people, good friends at Harmony House, actually come out and help out with that, and so we do have that component in Teen Maze as well, and that part will be visited at the party scene as well.
Yes, and as we go through this, I think you'll see that they experience these consequences, but they
Right.
also have somebody there that can kind of work them through it.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and give them some education as they
Right.
go through.
Because I think we try to, you know, it's kind of hard to explain Teen Maze to, you know, people who haven't experienced it, but so that's why I invite people to just come on out. But it's a scripted event. So the students come in and they draw scripts, and whatever your script tells you, that's what you have to do. Because in real life, you know, once you do something, the choice is permanent. But, you know, and with our Teen Maze, you come in, you make choices, and then these things are not permanent, but you get to think about all these consequences.
Yes. Okay, so once they leave the party scene, what is the next thing that happens?
The next thing is when they go outside, and our city, like I said, comes together very well to help do that. The police department, fire department, and AMR ambulance services all come outside and actually do a real recreation of what could happen if you were drinking and driving. And I can tell you, my first time seeing it, it actually brought tears to my eyes. And I see some of the students last year, it would put tears in their eyes.
Yes.
Because this could be real.
Right.
And we have one of our volunteers on the ground, blood on them, fake blood, but, and we have a parent come in and screaming and, that's my
Yes.
child, that's my child. And it really gets you thinking, like, what if this were me? That could be me on the road, or that could have been me in the car who actually did it. And so I think it gets the students' wheels turning, and then they start to think, oh man, that could really happen. This stuff could really happen.
Yes. Okay, and I know there is a scene where they're able to drive a golf cart.
Yes.
And they have on the glasses or the goggles that
Right.
make them feel like they're drunk. So
Right.
tell us about that scene and what some of the experiences have been for the young people that have gone through already.
Again, our sheriff's department and police department do a great job with this. We have a golf cart and we have drunk goggles. Let the students know what it feels like to be legally drunk. And the golf cart's only 10 miles an hour, but they realize how hard it is to navigate a golf
Yes.
cart while wearing those goggles. We also add in texting and driving, because distracted driving is just as dangerous as drinking and driving. So we have the students try to text and drive as well out there. And to be honest, you see students running over cones and
Yes.
everything out there. And it's funny and it's fun right then, but we try to drill home, what if there was a person standing on the side of the road?
Right.
Or, you could hit someone, you could get hurt. And so we try to just stress that, this is, we're just recreating this right now, but in real life, you don't get a second chance.
Yes, and there was a video on Facebook about texting and driving
Right.
where it's really like you have your eyes closed
Right.
for 5 seconds when you're texting, and that was a little bit scary and kind of brought it home for me.
Right.
So yes.
And that's the big thing now. Everybody has a cell phone nowadays. And so, drinking and driving is huge, but we need to stress texting and driving, because we try to keep teammates relevant to issues that are here in our community. And of course, teens, these phones, and then, just inexperienced being drivers anyway, just because they're young and just starting out. So we just try to drive home some of these points. And, hopefully they'll pick up something and take it with them.
And most of the times, those texts aren't real important.
Right.
And, I think sometimes, like, if you had a wreck and you looked at what you had looked at on your text,
Right.
it could have waited.
It definitely could have waited.
And it's probably something just saying thumbs up or whatever.
Right.
And
or
then-
these emojis or something, just something
Yeah.
silly that could cause you to have an accident. Just something silly like that.
That's right. And so some of the people, after driving the go-karts and having a wreck, end up in jail in the maze. Is that right?
Right.
They have to go before the judge?
Right. So at that point, after they've driven the carts outside, like I said, it's scripted. So they'll draw a script and it may say, hey, you accidentally hit someone. You have to go to jail. And so at that point, we take our team to our mock jail system over there that we have, and we have our judges come to and tell them the consequences of what could happen if you actually did this.
Yes.
They get fingerprinted, they get a mug shot and all of that from our sheriff department employees, and it starts to drive it home. Man, what if I did this?
That's
What
right.
would, I would have to go through this, and it doesn't just affect the student. That's that's a student's family, and then possibly a victim's family as well. So we just try to, at that point, it starts to sink in. So
Yes, and then sometimes when they draw their next thing, it's that they were drinking and driving, there was an accident, and they were killed.
right.
And so there's a funeral home in the maze.
Right.
Tell us about the funeral home.
I mean, when you come into the funeral home, you see the open casket, and that's usually a shocker for most people, volunteers and students alike, myself too, because you think, what if that were me laying in there? And so you get in there and you write your own eulogy. And at that point, she was the son, he was the son of such and such, and he liked to do this. And you think, these students are only in 9th grade. Is this, this is all I'm going to do? This is the end?
Yeah.
And so, they have to read, they write their eulogy, it's read aloud to them, and they're looking in the casket, and they have a mirror in the casket where they're looking back at them. And, that picture of you looking into, these students looking to the casket, it drives home that, wow, this really could be me. So, and then they have their picture taken next to the casket. We have a little booklet that they take with them. And, just to remember these things, and just remember that, consequences happen to real people, and it's not everybody else. It could be you.
Yes. And then also there are different routes that you can take
Right.
in the maze.
Right.
And so one is the emergency room.
Right.
Tell me about that.
The Wellstar West Georgia come out and do a whole emergency room scene where they show the equipment and what could really happen if someone were actually injured in a drunk driving accident. And so the students get to see them actually working on a patient that's come in. They get to see the possible instruments they could use, what life-saving tactics they would have to use, and realize that I don't want that to be me laying on that table. And they try to stress them, we don't want it to be any of you laying on this table. We don't want to see any of you out there in real life, because it could happen in real life.
Yes. And then another route is that simply they go on their first date.
Right.
Take me kind of down that route.
All right, so you get in. First date. Everybody knows first date, a lot of, it could be a lot of fun, but it's a lot of pressure, because at that age, students, there's different pressure from friends and media to be doing things that you may not even be ready for. So the first date, they draw a script and it tells them where to go. It tells them whether or not they gave into peer pressure and maybe possibly engaged in sexual intercourse, or they could go on to another date. Now, after that, if they did, they would go to our drugstore next. And our drugstore talks about different types of things that the students give information about, pregnancy and all those type of things. But contraceptives and that sort. And they learn that information there. And then they draw another script, and it tells them where they go. We also have our STD clinic. And, these are topics that sometimes it's very hard to talk about with parents and everything.
Right.
And so we try to put it in a fun environment, but an environment where you actually get to learn. And we have people there to actually give them real information about it. So you don't have to guess and figure out what it is. We give them real information. So about the contraceptives, STDs, they go to our STD clinic. They see real pictures of STDs.
Yes.
And our nurses at the health department actually see these real things. And so, it's not just fake. These things could happen. But, if they get through that or don't have pregnancy and have to go through our pregnancy clinic, we have graduation. And that's our ultimate goal for our students is graduation.
Yes. Now let's talk about if they do get pregnant. What happens there? I know they wear the pregnancy belly.
All right. We'll have our pregnancy bellies for our students to wear, girls and boys, just to realize what it's like to actually feel like, okay, I have this big load in front of me, And
20 pounds.
Right. And so the students, we have different stations, first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. And our volunteers go through what happens to a teen's body during each trimester and try to explain to them that teens' bodies are different from adults' bodies. And so pregnancy affects them differently. And they also try to explain the consequences that could happen if you were pregnant, because a lot of times we think, okay, we get pregnant, I'm going to be a teen mom. But what if you lose your child? What if you have to put your child up for adoption? What if you don't have that family support that you need? And so all these things are discussed right when they're going through the different trimesters. And so we just try to stress that, getting pregnant, that's not the only thing that could happen. And we just try to stress that, adoption, these things are emotional things, and losing a child, that's emotional. And so after they go through that, they could have twins, or they could have, just one baby, but they go over to our clinic where they pick up the babies. And we actually have the real life babies that are crying. And, you see the students walking around trying to get the babies quiet and everything. And, it hits home that, oh my God, I actually have to carry these children around with me. And
everywhere I go,
right,
or either have somebody who will carry it around.
Exactly.
Right?
And also in that area, our DFACS banking area, they realize, man, it costs money, like real money, to take care of these kids. And so we'd go through accounting. We give the kids a balance of $1,000, and you try to think, okay, child care is going to be this much. We got to pay for food. We got to pay for clothes. We got to pay for gas to get there, to and from. We go through. You see, the students get to write this down and see, man, that's that it costs money. It's not just free, And so we go through all those things in our teammates just so our students can see that pregnancy is not the only thing that could happen, but if it does happen, these consequences are real for you.
Yes. All right, and so the other scene that we haven't talked about is the graduation scene.
Yes, graduation.
That's the goal of the maze.
That's the goal.
Get to the graduation
right, and that's the
stage.
goal, for our students. We want our
Right.
students to graduate. At the graduation, we have great participation from each high school. We usually have a principal or staff member come, and they wear the cap and gown. We give the students get to wear the cap and gown and walk across the stage and get our Teen Maze diploma. And, a lot of times students don't even think about graduating, at ninth grade because they think, man, I got so many years left. But graduation, may seem so far off, but there's so many things that you need to do in between ninth grade and 12th grade to get there. And there's so many things that could throw you off track. So our goal is to get to graduation. We have the music playing, they get the diploma, get their picture taken. And, we hope it's just a reminder as to what this could feel like, and, when it happens for real. And just to keep it in mind that we want this to happen for real.
Yes,
So.
and then also everybody in the maze that's working in the maze claps.
Yep. Oh yeah.
When they go across
we
the
have our
graduation
clappers,
stage
and so they get their name called out, and they'll say Wonder Walker. Clack, 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 clack. You hear the
Graduate.
and everyone's clapping, and we have the Pump and Circumstance playing, so that you can hear their music. I mean, it really feels like a real event for the students, because
Yes.
you can see them like getting really excited, trying to fix their hair and stuff to go across it, and you're thinking, man, this is just like 2 seconds long, but they're fixing their hair, looking in the mirror and everything, because it's big for them.
Yes.
And graduation is a huge step, and we know that students who don't graduate from high school often make less money, have harder outcomes than people who do. So we just want our students to have opportunities, and those opportunities can be cut if you don't graduate from high school.
Yes, and I remember being in a class that was talking about poverty, and it said, one way to come out of poverty is to wait until you are like 19 to have a baby, and then to get married,
Right.
and to definitely finish high school.
Right, because high school diplomas, nowadays, pretty much every job you're going to need one. Even from basic things, you're going to need a high school diploma to hope to make decent money for your family, because it costs money to do everything, and when these children get older, they're going to want to do everything.
Yes.
So it costs money, and so just to think about these things and think about graduation, you can go on to college. We try to stress, a lot of kids they say they want to go into the military. You have to have that high school diploma to go into the military as well. So just making sure that they understand that if you don't graduate, you could have harder outcomes than if you do.
That's right. And so after the graduation, then they talk to people about where to go to college,
Right.
Think Academy. So take me through that process
All right.
of what they would hear.
After they graduate, we have our career center, and we just want them to be career minded, because hey, we're in ninth grade, but like I said, what you're doing now is going to affect the future. And so we have Think Academy out there, and they're doing a great job out there,
Yes.
just bringing students in, getting them career ready. And so this Think Academy volunteers talk about what they do at Think, and see if the students are interested in that. We have LaGrange College out there, just thinking bigger. You're like, oh man, I can go to college, and have some of their brochures and talk about what it takes to get into college. And we have the Department of Labor out there, and they do a great job of saying, just physically showing them, this is the amount of money is typically made by someone who does not graduate. This amount of money is typically made by someone who does. And they show them, degree, if you have a degree, how much you could possibly make of your career. So we have people set just to show them, okay, you've gone through all of this, but now these are the things that you could actually have open to you if you do graduate. And so we just want to make sure that they see that there are many opportunities out there.
Yes.
So much that you could do with your life.
And West Georgia Technical College.
Yeah,
will be
West
out
Georgia
there
Technical
also,
College, of
right?
course, they will be there. And they, they have so many opportunities out there. West Georgia Technical
Yes.
College that people don't even know about. And a lot of times these students can, if going and reading books and all that stuff might not be, hands-on things might be more for you. And so West Georgia Technical College come out there and show them some of the things that they have to offer at their school. And, our students just get exposed to something different, because even in ninth grade, you need to start thinking about these things that are going to happen in a few years from now.
Yes. So they experience this maze,
Right.
all this activity, all this information, like in 45 minutes.
Yeah, the students have 45 minutes to an hour to actually complete it, yes.
Yes. So when they get through,
Mm-hmm.
are they full of questions, or what's their response?
We have students who we have our career center, and then we have our exit counselors.
Yes.
And so if they have any questions, they can ask our exit counselors. If they have any questions about anything that's in the maze, they'll direct them to the people who can answer, or they'll answer themselves, because the students are, they're looking at the books and kind of laughing. I went through this, I went through that. But some of them do have real questions like, so what is this?
Yes.
Contraceptive, what is that? And Troup County Health Department, they actually have questions for us about what services do we offer, and what can they come out there and get. And we're not trying to direct students to do anything, but we try to stress that abstinence is the only 100% way to avoid STDs, pregnancies, and all this stuff that could hurt you from keep you from graduating.
Yes. And so when they get home, I'm sure some students are going to want to ask their parents the questions, or talk to their parents.
Right.
So on the surveys, we've heard that students really do want to talk to their parents and want to hear this information from them. So you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, we give our students a lot of information when they leave, and we encourage them to share this with their parents, because, like I said, these are kind of hard topics sometimes to discuss with parents, and so we give them information to take home with them, and Teammates stimulates them to actually go home and talk to their parents about these things, and so. When they get home, they can discuss these things, and they can actually talk and say, okay, well, what do you think, Mom? What do you think, Dad? And it opens up the gate of discussion, because, I mean, I don't know, it might be kind of hard just saying, hey, Mom, let's talk about sex today, or hey, Mom, let's talk about, teen pregnancy. But since we've given them an avenue to do that, it makes that two-way discussion a little bit easier.
Yes, that's great. And also, I just want to add a plug that I heard, too, that students say that because their parents asked them not to have sex, that's the main reason that they give that they didn't.
Right.
So parents ask.
You're right. And, parental involvement in most things when they're growing up is the most important predictor of what your students are actually going to do.
Yes.
And so if we have our parents talking and communicating with their students about values and things that they, find, that they want their children to achieve, we can, achieve graduation and college and all these things. So we just want our parents to get involved as well. So we encourage our students to share that information.
Yes, and this event is truly a community event.
Yes.
With the community volunteers.
Yes.
And you've mentioned some of your partners.
Yes.
Are there some others that you'd like to mention?
Well, we definitely want to mention our sponsors for 2016, because, I mean, to do an event this big, you have to have the money to do it. So United Way of West Georgia, we are so grateful that, again, this year they're partnering with us. Charter Bank, again, is one of our sponsors, as well as the City of LaGrange. They're one of our sponsors as well. And new this year, we have Peach State Health Plan that came on this year to be one of our sponsors. And so, I mean, like I said, this is a huge event. There's a lot of students. Last year, we had nearly 800 students and nearly 250 volunteers for those both of those days. So, I mean, it takes money to carry on this thing. So we're just so grateful for our sponsors.
Yes. And this is an educational event.
Right.
But it's being put on by, or sponsored by, the health department and the community agencies come around. Tell me, what's been the response from the school system about Teen Maze?
Well, I can tell you, it made me happy, because there's so much work that goes on for, just little things, just making sure Teen Maze goes on. And I went out to Callaway High School to drop off the permission forms and everything. And then when I got to the office, it's like, yay, Teen Maze, we love Teen Maze.
Great.
And so, I was like, yeah, somebody, we're not just regular school day, they actually like it. The school system, we actually have someone from the school system on our steering committee, and she is very great about just pushing it to the students, because if she feels that it's something valuable. And so, I mean, our response with the school system has been awesome, doing all the background stuff that no one sees, like the background checks and processing our volunteer applications, those things. So our school system has been awesome and just helping us make this event possible.
Yes. And so I know in previous years you've had a night where the parents and community could come in. Are you having that again this year?
We are not having a parent night this year, but the information that the students have, that's the same information they can share with our parents. Also on our website, we do have now at troopcohealth.org, we do have where parents can send in questions if they have any, and we can answer them directly for the parents. And on there also, students now can ask us questions directly and have their questions answered. So we just, since we still want our parents and community involved, we've just, online, you can come on and ask us the same questions.
And there's a great video about Teen Maze on your website,
We have the Teen Maze video, which kind of gives you just a quick little 5-minute run through of what we're trying to do, what it is, and so you can actually see that visual and see what we're doing out there.
Okay, now Tashari, we have just a few minutes left. I know you've been at the health department a couple of years now. Tell me, what is your position and what do you do when you're not doing Teen Maze?
I am the health educator, public health educator with Troup County Health Department, and so when I'm not doing Teen Maze, I am speaking to different groups and organizations about a variety of things. A lot of times it is sexual health related, but I mean a variety of different topics. I do get to go out and speak in the community and actually be a part of different boards and committees in the community. So I mean, it's a very fun job because I get out and I get to see people and get to talk because I like to talk. So it's a fun job.
Yes. Okay, let's talk just a few more minutes about the volunteers.
Okay,
I know that they have to have a background check.
They do.
And they fill out an application.
Right.
Where do they go to get that application? On the web?
We have them available online at troopcohealth.org.
Okay.
Or you can just Google Troup County Health Department. We have a Teen Maze tab on there. Just click on that Teen Maze tab. You'll see them, the three volunteer forms that they need come right up when you click on our Teen Maze tab. And so those forms need to be returned to me by October 10th because they have to have time to run the background checks and everything. And also I have to have time just to place them in the different stations throughout Teen Maze. So October 10th. We have to get them in.
And you're really good to your volunteers and you give them a continental breakfast.
Yes, we have continental breakfast. We'll feed you lunch. We don't want them sitting there starving all day. So we do try to, make it comfortable for our volunteers because we do appreciate them.
And they'll get a Teen Maze t-shirt.
Teen Maze t-shirt. And this year we also have raffles throughout Teen Maze when the students aren't in there. So we've had some great people volunteer some things. So we're giving off a few things this year. So we just want to make it fun for our volunteers as well because, they are doing a very important job in our community.
Yes, they are. And you are too. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching You Make the Difference. And remember, you truly do. So get out there and volunteer for Teen Maze.
Yes.
Thank you.